I think the major one is reputational risk, the risks of defamation to character, the privacy type issues, breach of confidentiality, and then if it's got a link to the courts, things like suppression orders and contempt of court. Defamation is basically injury to reputation. It's basically if you see something said about you that you don't like, then that would be defamation, almost certainly, if you feel that it damages your reputation. The material needs to be published for defamation purposes, which means basically passing it on to a third party. Usually it's individuals. We now have in our uniform defamation laws, corporations can't sue, major corporations that is, with certain limits, but the executives of those companies can still sue. Groups of people, small groups of people can sue, but not major corporations. You can defame the Prime Minister, but we do have a decision years ago of Longy against the ABC, which enabled political discussion so that you can say a lot more about political figures than normal people. The major one is truth. So you need to prove the truth of every defamatory imputation or meaning that comes out of that publication. And that's by far the major one. I think number one, a company needs to have a social media policy and set out the circumstances in which employees can use social media and how they can use it and the risks of using it. And for general users, it's very important that they understand that using social media is not like using the telephone. Using the telephone, there's usually no record of it, unless someone's hacking, which is pretty unusual. But generally, there is a record of what you're tweeting or what you put on Facebook. And so, to some degree, it's similar to publishing it in the print media or on radio or television. And you can be sued for it.
Have people been sued?
Many, many times, and it's getting more and more common. If you're a witness in a court case and you're in the box, then nothing you can say, you can't be sued on anything that you say. And obviously you need to be totally and utterly truthful.
And what about outside court? If you're a witness or a defendant in a court case, what can you say outside court while the case is going on?
Well, you need to be very careful because there are some that will say there's the court of law and there's the court of public opinion, and they're both equally as important. But if you start saying things outside court, you, number one, have no protection for defamation. And secondly, if you in any way prejudice the fair trial, then you can be in contempt of court. You see on television so many times where people put up their hands or yell or slam the door. It's actually not a good look. So the best thing to do is to ask those people nicely to leave. They are, if they're on your property, they can be trespassing, so you can legitimately ask them to leave your property. I think the major one is that they tend to just say things as if they were saying them in the pub or to a very close family friend, and don't actually think through the consequences that those words could actually appear in print or on radio or television.